So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 2 a.m. in Sweden, aka We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka El Shifty, with the one, the only, the special guest of the show, the co-host of the show, the great guy himself, Steven at Steven_Springs. Steven, how you been? How's life going for you?
I don't even know. Survive in advance, man. That's really all it is with kids.
That is,
And ailments. And you know me for what, 10 years? And
yeah.
obviously I've known me as long as I've had kids. And this is just like it's a yearly occurrence. For like a month, I'll just be, I don't know. I don't really know how it goes. I just told you before
Mhm.
we came on, I've lost 14 pounds this month unintentionally, which is like
Crazy.
nuts. But whatever, dude. Like we're skiing this weekend, so that should be.
Hey, look, you sound like the people I work with.
Yeah, bro, it's tough. But whatever, dude. Like it could always be worse. But here we are. So survive in advance. That's all you gotta do. And
Yeah, you're
toss
right
a little
about
cough
that.
top in.
Hey,
How was your trip? I meant to text you, but
yo,
that was when I was incapacitated. So there was no chance. I didn't want to look at. I didn't want to couldn't even look at a screen. Like I was like, I can't do this right now. Like homie's having a great
so
time, but like I cannot. I just don't care.
so I was gonna save it for the end, but since we're
Oh,
here,
that's fine. That's fine.
wanted
That's
to
fine. That's fine. That's fine. We can. That's fine.
because I was like, it's gonna be 5 to 10 minutes. We're gonna talk about
That's
this.
fine. Okay.
Because I wanted to focus on you to kind of start. So the first thing is, I always told you that people at my job were trying to figure out the podcast, and I would always tell them like we're hidden in plain sight, like we're not really hidden. And then come into work today, and the person's going to see this, so I don't even need to see the name because we had this conversation, and they were like, "So I did something like I found something." I was like, "Oh, what?" They're like, "I found your podcast." I was like, "Hold up,
Nice.
wait." It was the most random thing. I was like,
Nice.
"How'd you do that?" They explained the whole way how they found it. I was like, "Nope, that's exactly how you found it." And then they were like, "You were talking about me on the podcast," because it was the
Well, I mean,
episode
it's bound
where
to
we
happen,
talked.
dude.
Yeah,
It's bound to happen.
we were talking about kids, and then they were like, they love hearing your stories, how you talk about like your kids getting sick because their kids get sick, and then how like you'll talk about your relationship like with your wife during like Penn State games, and so it was the funniest thing because I was thinking, and I told my friends, I said, how did that randomly be the first episode they saw? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a perfectly fine episode to see, but of all the episodes we've ever put out, like it wasn't the last one. It wasn't the first one. It
It's a
was
random
just
one.
like 3, 4 weeks ago. All right,
Yep.
click this one.
We got a fan though.
So yeah, so shout out to that. The other part is, and mind you, I just came back from England. So all this is like random one. Were they plotting on Friday? Who really knows? Then I'm in my office and this other guy comes in and says, "Hey, so I hear you're the crypto person."
Mm.
I'm like, did y'all like find like what did you do?
Oh,
Because
I
y'all
heard.
are doing that. So they're like,
Did
yeah,
you tell them that
so
they should
I
never
had
take financial advice from you, and it's just what your opinions are, and not actual financial advice? Because we always have to make that clear.
exactly. We always got to make the disclaimer because people definitely will take my stuff as financial advice. And so he started asking me about 4 different coins, and then he was like, "Yeah, so like, what are your thoughts?" And I had to tell someone, I said, how do you tell someone that only probably put in $400 to $500 that, hey, buddy, my whole life is involved in this, like,
Yeah, it's a lot, dude. It's a
like
lot.
it's not two, 3 digits that are in this.
Yeah.
It's like if it goes down, there will never be Christian on this show again,
No.
type of thing.
I mean,
So
it's done.
the
Might as
same
well
way,
just
like,
switch jobs.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no full-time job with this. So I got to talk to him, which was good because my biggest thing is, and I tell people at work, how do I talk to a lot of people in the industry I'm in when we have nothing in common? But then I found this. I said, "Oh, this could be something we could talk about." So we talked for like 10 to 15 minutes. But it was just weird because I went this whole time. Nobody really knew that much that I was in crypto. Nobody really found the podcast. But I come back from a trip, and the first day I come back, everyone like
Yep.
they almost had this plotted out. Like Christian's not in here on Friday. We about to figure out what you know, and like plan it all together. So that was the big thing there that they kind of talked about. The other thing that other people at my job have talked about, and it's like the topic of conversation. And we'll start with this, and then we'll go into college football after. NFL Super Bowl. But before
Yeah.
we get into the NFL Super Bowl, I want to talk about the two games that happened. Because for anyone that doesn't know, Steven picked both the teams that were going to the Super Bowl.
Did.
For anyone that knows about me, I technically only picked one correct. The other one, and mind you, I had to watch the Bills and Chiefs game at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So that was the part that was kind of rough.
Wait, what time did
And then
the game start over there?
So Eagles
Seven,
game
right?
started, huh?
This game was like 8.
Yeah. So Eagles
It's
game
5
was
hours,
at like
right?
8:30. Yep. Yeah. So that was at 8:30, and
Oof,
then
that's tough.
the Chiefs game was at 11:30.
Oof.
And I was getting tired by like 1 o'clock my time, trying to figure out like, all right, how do I stay awake for this? It was like
That's tough.
halftime, and I said, you know what? This game is gonna be like, I know who's gonna win, but I'm just gonna hope.
Yeah. How are they
Mind
gonna
you,
win?
anyone that knows me, huh?
How are they gonna win now?
Yeah,
Like,
how are they gonna
what
win?
type of scenario is gonna come up where the Chiefs are gonna win this game?
Mm-hmm.
It's. I
And
was
when you
watching
look at
when I
it,
was watching. No, mind. Go ahead. You finish up.
no, when you look at it, and when you wake up and see the end, you're not. I mean, you know it was gonna happen in a way like that. They weren't gonna make it a blowout, but for it to happen that way was my surprise. But I want to know your thoughts on it.
Eagles balled out, but I think that should have been expected. I know everyone in hindsight. I think that should have been expected because
Mm-hmm.
Eagles are just better and Saquon peaking at the right time, and he's playing. You know, it's not like every run is 10, 15 yards, but he has so many of them. Like I think he has
Mm-hmm.
the most 60+ yard touchdown plays in an entire season, including the postseason.
Yep.
So it's just like those 2 or 3, 60-yard runs or like 45-yard touchdown runs that he has changed the game. And Jalen Hurts played well. Washington kept it close in the beginning and put them together, but it wasn't, nearly enough. Bills had a chance. You can say what you want about the first down. It is kind of crazy that it's $1 billion industry, and we're using 2, middle-aged guys spot a ball with 4 other middle-aged guys holding chains to spot a ball, call first down. But whatever, it's like the nostalgia of football. So I get that. That's whatever. It's the chains, like the chain gang. It's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like again, hindsight, people should probably know the Chiefs are going to win that game. Like, there's nothing in anything that can make you think otherwise. I don't know who I want to win the Super Bowl though, because I really love the history of the game, so I want the Chiefs to win. But Saquon's the homie. Shout out to the homie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, went to Penn State,
Shout out.
Pennsylvania guy from Eastern PA.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the Chiefs will win, but I'm feeling like rooting for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna pick the Chiefs to win, but I want the Eagles to win. So there's
my thoughts. I went into it.
Wait, hold
saying
on. I only want the Chiefs to win if Saquon has a big game in the Super Bowl MVP. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna be happy if the Eagles win.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Starting with the Eagles Commanders game. I went into it because it's how I always am. I chose the Commanders. But my big thing was the Commanders beat the Lions. So you didn't necessarily know how good the Lions were or how good the Commanders were or how good the Eagles actually are. I will still say it. The Eagles secondary is some shit. Like, there are 3 secondaries that are bad. The Eagles, the Ravens, and the Panthers. That's how it is. Almost in that order, too. The Panthers might be above the Ravens.
What were the names you said?
The Eagles, the Ravens, and the Panthers.
Right.
For anybody that says, and Marlon, I hope you never watch this, For anyone that says like Marlon Humphrey was a slot, uh, AP all receiver, all cornerback this year, come on, like all pro first team, come on, no, I don't believe that 1 second. The secondary for the Eagles is young. Darius Slay, if they put him on DeAndre Hopkins, Hopkins is going to kill him. Darius Slay, if you put him on,
I forgot he's on the Chiefs.
Yep.
You know, like
Darius Slay, if you put him on Worthy will cook him. First off, Xavier Worthy has to be one of the fastest players in the league because the way this man just is like a human joystick out there.
Acceleration is crazy.
Insane. And you have both of them. Kareem has something to prove because if anyone noticed, they played Kareem Hunt more than Pacheco a lot of the time in important situations.
Mm-hmm.
And Pacheco's still coming back from his injury. So that's kind of the other part over there. So I didn't know what to expect from the Eagles in their game. They absolutely cooked. But part of it was, and I talked to people at work, there was like 2 or 3 fumbles. Those 2 or 3 fumbles changed the game. And they were in terrible situations.
You just can't have that happen, dude. Like those are like same thing like with the Ravens game, the Ravens Bills game. Like you just can't have those kind of mistakes, especially in games like get away with season. I say this about Penn State games all the time. Like there's 4 or 5 plays a game that are going to happen that you got to make, or like offensively or defensively, special teams. But like those are like the Eagles made those plays. Like all the turnovers, just 3 turnovers, dude. No,
3 of them.
And then they scored off of 2 of them.
Yeah, first off,
even scoring off of one of them changes the game, but can't do that. Oh man, brutal turnover.
The first play of the game was kind of when I knew. The first play for the Eagles, when he took it up the left side, I was like, we're done. Like, there's no reason to keep going with this. So that's kind of when I knew. But then you started seeing the way Jalen Carter was playing, and then Ringo was playing, and like Smith, like you just started to see this team was going to be different.
Even though the Commanders got within 2 points at one point, never felt like the Eagles were going to lose the game.
Yeah. A.J. Brown was clicking. Devontae Smith had the catches. Of course, you can go back and forth on that catch on the sideline, like was it or was it not. But for any athlete to be able to be in a situation to haul that in and the feet, kudos. Dallas Goedert, solid. That front, Mekhi Becton, I tell you not. He was one of the best pickups over there. You have Lane Johnson, Mekhi Becton, Landon Dickerson, like all on.
Landon Dickerson is a real one.
Yes.
A real one, dude.
Yes. Like you have all of them. Yes. Maliata, you just have the front 5 is nice. They were worried, maybe on the tush push, you see it, but Jason Kelsey not being there, they were worried about. I don't think the Eagles have lost a step to the human eye as much. Maybe to an NFL eye, you can see, all right, maybe a play or 2 was not called correctly. But for, doped up Hurts to be where he is with his knee and everything, they kept him pretty good. So that's kind of one thing I will say. Saquon, I would love to see him get the MVP in the Super Bowl. I feel he can do what Cooper Kupp did the year that the Rams end up winning it. They're going to rely on him a lot. Only thing is, and this is where I want to segue it over to the Chiefs and the Bills. There's a couple of takeaways. The first one is Chris Jones almost said it best. The only way you can really stop the Chiefs from continuing this dynasty and everything they're doing, hire Spagnuolo. Yeah, you got to get him out of the defensive coordinator position. And I was talking to some people, even one of my friends that's a Buffalo Bills fan, the play when you knew Spagnuolo knew how to beat the Bills was on that 4th down at the goal line when he knew Josh Allen every single time goes left. So you stacked the right side so that you could stop it. You saw the right side of it where the left side was for the defense. They could have easily kind of like switched it to the other side, but they still went with their way. It was not even close. Like they had that stop.
In the all-out blitz.
Yes. Yep.
Man.
And so that was something else. So that's the thing I want to talk to you about because I've talked to people at work and we probably have mentioned it, but the fact that people really think you can analyze the play and be like, you could throw it out the backfield to Khalil Shakir shows that you don't necessarily watch football because when you have an all-out blitz on you, and then you only have one read. You don't get to scan the field to figure out what you're doing. Yeah, you might see that out the backfield, but he wasn't even running that way, Steven. He's having to run the other way because the blitzer is coming from that side. So you're going that way. You're doing one of those F it. My Kincaid's down there somewhere. So you're just throwing it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about that Twitter. Yeah, like he had no other. There's no other option on that play. I hate the. Like, if you want to break down, like, never mind. Go down that path. That's gonna kill me. Yeah, that guy's so corny. Stop being weird like that, dude. I called him out, obviously. And I've also been going back to Ravens fans again, dude, constantly. Just one thing after another, just nuts. Those bozos. Ravens fans are still talking about it.
So we won't analyze or go in depth yet on the Super Bowl. We have 2 weeks. It's the Pro Bowl, but you know what they say. So Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson opted out of the Pro Bowl, so they lock it in, Steven. That's the other thing. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The other part is after the Super Bowl, we'll start diving into college football more. There isn't necessarily as much to cover right now. Of course, all you're going to see is what's happening with the East-West Shrine Bowl. Of course, we'll talk about Shiloh Sanders and what's happening there, Jalen Milroe, what's happening there. Number one, a lot of this just reminds me of Ben Simmons in the offseason when they'll like hype up certain things. And I'm like, listen, these practices, these warm-ups, show me when it comes to the combine. Show me on the game film like what really is happening. Because I know what I saw from the season from some of these players, and that's not really what I'm seeing. Unless you're Arizona top wide receiver, unless you're Shador Sanders, you had any of the Penn State linemen that end up going, you have anybody from either Bama, any of those places that are top ranked, don't just come to me with some like random stuff. Now, they do say that the running back position in the D line is loaded. We will cover all that when we get to that point, but we still have a lot of time. The one thing I want to highlight now before we kind of close up a lot of it is a sport that we haven't covered that much recently, and that's the NBA for numerous different reasons. The first thing I want to cover with that is Jimmy Butler. So even before Jimmy Butler, I want to say Kevin Love is living his best life, because if anybody does not look at Kevin Love's Instagram, Twitter, you're missing a hell of a show.
He just doesn't care.
Because he does not care. What does he have to care about? He has a ring. He has the money. He has the life in South Beach. There's absolutely nothing for him to care about. He's basically being Udonis Haslem right now.
Yep.
You don't have to do anything. And he is seeing the situation play out for you, and he knows what is happening. Jimmy doesn't care that Kevin Love is doing this because they both know what is happening with this situation. Jimmy wants out. Kevin Love is like, listen, y'all are just making this a whole funny-ass show. And for them to end up putting Highsmith in the starting lineup over Jimmy Butler, Jimmy was like, I'm done with this. And they were saying that essentially this is all Pat Riley's doing because he knows how to make you mad. And it's not necessarily something Eric Spoelstra would do on his own. I don't even think Eric Spoelstra is going to look at one of his best players and be like, look, Highsmith is starting over you. And in front, apparently what everyone's saying is in front of the whole team and stuff. But what are your thoughts on Jimmy Butler, one, and do you think he'll end up getting traded, or do you think they'll just keep him on the team and make him upset? Only in sports.
Yeah, only in sports. I think they'll probably trade him because that's just such a big headache that I just wouldn't want to deal with, even though he's really good. The Heat are 6th in the East right now. Half game up on Orlando and Detroit. Shout out to the Pistons.
Shout out. That's big.
Yeah. It just seems like a problem, dude. Like a huge headache. Like he's your best player and he's just being a douche and just being a dickhead about it. Like just either trade him or, not. Like I know they probably, they obviously gotta wait and find a suitor for it, but like I feel like you have to trade him, right? I feel like you're just being a dick about it. Like everyone else is probably. We don't know what's going on. We have no idea how this is played out behind closed doors. But it's just like, they're in the playoffs. If they were the worst team in the East or had the worst record, sure. Like, whatever. Like let it play out. It's always fun to have drama. But you're number 6 in the East, so you have a chance. But I don't know. I've never really liked Jimmy Butler. Something about him just bothers me. I think it's just his attitude or like how he goes about himself. I don't know. You know how I am with shit like that. bothers me. Like once you bother me once, like you're done. Like
It's over.
It's done. So, and Anthony Davis is out for the rest of the game for the second half. Abdominal muscle strain. Not. Oh wait, that I'm gonna say that at the end. Yeah, I feel like you got to trade him because he's just being a nuisance right now, and you're in a playoff hunt. So just cut him loose and get something good though. Because he's still a top tier player, offensively and defensively. So get something good.
Yeah. I wish he could go to a top contender team because I feel he could be a solid piece there. But we know kind of how Pat Riley can handle situations. Like if you do him wrong, he's gonna end up sending you, I don't know, it's like the Jazz or the Pelicans or like something random where a situation you don't want to go to. On the flip side to it, there's a couple of things I want to bring up in terms of NBA. And again, once the NFL season's over, we're gonna segue a lot more into the NBA. But De'Aaron Fox, they have finally put him on the trade block, which you kind of saw the writing on the wall when they kind of let go of Mike Brown. I feel bad, though, so bad for DeMar DeRozan and then Sabonis. Like, you have these players there that you thought was going to be solid. They were a good team like 2 years ago, and then it just fell off. So now you have to figure out a way to do it. If you're trading De'Aaron Fox, you're basically saying you're not rebuilding, but you're not contending.
Yeah, you're just kind of scrapping it and just moving on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's kind of an important piece. The other thing that I'll talk.
They had it too. They had something working for a hot second and then just went to shit.
Yeah, it happened quick. And you just look at the West. I'll kind of start with those teams at the bottom. So you have the Jazz, Pelicans, Trailblazers. Jazz, I don't really know. Jazz and Wizards, I really don't know what they're thinking because the Jazz have solid pieces. But some of those pieces you're just going to have to trade because those are NBA playoff caliber role players over there. Pelicans, I don't know what to say, Steven. Like they have Ingram, they have McCollum, they have Zion when he wants to play, which is wild. And that just shows you how athletically gifted these players are because Zion can come back only in sports. He can come back, do a 360 windmill, then
and be done.
And be done.
Like how are you not out of PTO? If you're Zion, like these dudes, Joel Embiid, same way. They're not playing.
So Trailblazers, they're another team. I feel as though they just don't necessarily care. They say they messed up with that draft because you chose Scoot Henderson. You thought he was going to be something, and if you would have gone 2 draft picks down, you would have had him on Thompson, and that would have been something for you. And they're saying he is being nice on the Rockets too. The Spurs, they're slowly but surely getting there. I don't think this year is going to be their year, but you're seeing a lot of growth out of that team. So I can kind of see next year will be like their playoff run. They're a couple of games out, but I feel that Golden State Warriors are going to take that spot away from the Kings. Once that De'Aaron Fox trade happens, the Warriors will end up getting it. Mavericks, they don't have Luka, so of course they're fine. Phoenix is a questionable one because why are you in 8th place with the team that you supposedly thought was going to be good?
They don't play defense. There's no defense on that team.
There's none. Half the time, Grayson Allen is your best defender when that was. Like, so what are you really doing? And then you have the Timberwolves. That's disappointing because you made that trade. And y'all are essentially 25 and 21, which you're not doing much worse than the Knicks. I mean, if you look at it, it's 31-16 for the Knicks, and then you're 25-21. It's only 5 games difference. So it's really not the end of the world for the trade, but you could see which team kind of made the better of the trade. The other team just made it better with the cap space. Lakers are sneaking up there. Lakers and Clippers being 5 and 6. For me, I will say it's pretty damn good at this point, especially kind of with how both those teams are. And then Nuggets, they're just always going to be that team that slides through. Yeah. Like they don't need the first place seed. You just need a seed, and you'll like get in. And then your top 3, Thunder, Rockets, and Grizzlies, are the youth team. That might be the way the future's going to go. They're not going to win championships, but they can always be up there because they're young.
I just don't trust any of those teams this year to win a title.
No
chance.
No. When you have 4, 5, and 6, that are right there.
No.
So now I would not be surprised if the Lakers found a way to fuck around and make it to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I feel like they have to. I feel like they're going to make a trade. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to have to. Well, we'll see what AD's injury is. We to see what that is. If it's a long-term thing, if he's out for the season or a couple games or whatever. God knows with AD, but I just feel like they're gonna make a trade. They're not gonna trade one of
Hmm.
their. They're not gonna trade one of the big like Austin Reeves. I don't think they'll trade Rui, but I don't know. I feel like they're gonna trade someone and get not De'Aaron Fox, but someone that's like low key gonna help him win him a title. Watch him get Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler somehow.
that wouldn't be a terrible thing for them.
No, could be
It
worse.
would make their team. It would just be an old team, like an
Yeah,
old ass team
yeah.
at
Just get
that
one.
point. But
Yeah. One last
for
run.
the one time. So, kind of closing this part up, just going over to the East side, the Wizards, they're not going to be anything. I'm just going to be honest. We'll never have a good NBA team around here at this point in life. The Hornets don't ask what they're doing. They're just playing street ball. Brooklyn Nets, ever since they made that big ass trade for all the old heads, they really have never been the same. Like, it's always been that way. Raptors, they're just a team in the North. After
Yeah,
Kawhi left, everything kind of just went downhill. So Sixers, they might only get the 10th or 9th seed. And they spent so much money on those players. Like you have Maxey, you have Embiid, and then you have Paul George, and yet you only have the 11th seed to show for it. So that's kind of
it's like no
something.
one's helping
Bulls
that team.
every single time.
Yeah,
Like nobody's ever healthy. 10, you don't need to talk about. It's the Bulls. 9, I wouldn't really say much. It's the Hawks. They don't surprise me anything yet. The Pistons are probably the team to talk about for numerous different reasons. Being at 500 at this point in the season, they're usually having play dates with the Wizards and the Jazz type of records.
they were the 6th seed 4 games ago before they went on a 3-game losing streak. But
Yeah.
Kate Cunningham should be All-Star reserve.
Hmm.
What are my expectations as a Pistons fan? Like, just make the playoffs. Make a top 6 seed. Don't want to play in the play-ins.
No.
But they just need like one veteran piece that can put up good numbers or in good minutes. Not like a old head guy that's 30, 38, whatever, and just like a veteran locker room guy. You need someone who's I don't know what type of veteran that guy would be, but they need someone in that locker room. This is a team that can make the playoffs. Kate Cunningham is one of the better players in the league. Young team, super talented. What's his name? Isaiah Stewart down low is a monster.
Solid. Yeah.
So they just need like that one veteran old head player, but that's still hooping at a pretty high level. Just to give that little bit extra whatever that it is that they need to be a top 6 seed or make a playoff run. They need an old head that can give them that.
So I'm not going to say this is the reason why they're about to be in the playoffs, but there is one player that's on their team that is not on the Sixers anymore and helped them make the playoffs. And Tobias Harris, he doing something. I don't know what he's doing over there, but he outside of taking their money, he's doing something. The Magic are a team that you should probably pay attention to. The Miami Heat, they're just chilling. The East isn't great. Like some of these teams, I don't understand how they are where they are, but when you have the Wizards that are 6-39, those are easy wins half the time. If you heard what Kevin Durant said last time he played against them, you kind of know all you need to know there. Pacers, they're just there. Bucks, they're going to be chilling. Knicks, fine. Celtics, clearly. Cavaliers. So my 2 for you, and then we'll switch over. Cavaliers and Thunder. Which do you think is the more competitive team that has a chance to go to the finals?
I would
One
say
or the other, or neither.
I would say the Cavs. I don't know. I just Donovan Mitchell. Not like he's been there, done that, but like that's someone that the Pistons would need. I think.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. I don't look at Donovan Mitchell as like a top 10 player, but pretty close. But he's been there with the Jazz. He had a couple stints in the playoffs. So I would definitely trust him. I think the Thunder are probably. Maybe they aren't more talented, but Shea's an MVP player. But I think having a little bit of that experience does mean a lot too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably go Cavs. But I don't trust either one of those teams to win the title this year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, when the playoffs come, that's when we'll really see kind of how it is. It's cool to have that first seed, but just kind of seeing how it ends up playing out is crazy. They always talk about how the hell did the Golden State Warriors that year lose under 10 games? It
That's
just shows you
crazy,
how good
bro.
you have to be.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
It shows you the team. So now we'll bring it all the way back around and we'll talk about the trip that was. And there's a
Ugh.
ton of things that we'll talk about on this trip. So for anyone that doesn't know, I went there to end up seeing Man City, aka Manchester City, against Chelsea.
Mhm.
Two really good teams in the Premier League, and it was a great game. I went there kind of because I said, all right, there's a solid dude that plays for Man City. His name is Erling Haaland, one of the best that's out there. If you know anything about football, you know that he's one of the top tier ones. And he had this one goal. When I tell you, like, watching football in another country, they treat it like how we treat golf and tennis. Like, you'll just, every single time there's a steal, every single time you see like a smart move, there's none of, and I want to bring up something Steven said before. I'm in a little bit, but Erling Haaland was wide open on his own on the right side. He ended up bending it over the keeper because the keeper came too far out of the goal, and he just bent it over. He knew it was in, and that was a wrap. But what I want to bring up, and I was talking to a couple people out there about Steven, because Steven said that nothing kind of compares to like the hype that's in football and like how they end up celebrating, how they get. And what I've come to realize is people that think you can even compare, not Steven, but people that have said this conversation, people that think you can compare football everywhere else in the world to American football, you can't, because the way that they celebrate and do things is extremely different than America. The way they did football there, it wasn't one of those you'll never hear, hell yeah, like there's no hype that way. It's like, all right, love, like how
It's
we
what
do
they
like
do.
lovely putter. Huh?
It's just what they do.
Yeah,
Like
that's
there's
how
all
it is.
like that, and that's like the, but that's like the only. I mean, that's not the only sport they have, but like like that's
That's their
what they
sport.
live for. Is
Yes.
soccer.
And yeah, so the other big thing that I want to bring up, and I'll get into some of the different notes that I have, and the people out there that I talked to, they saw me writing my notes down because I'm about to bring it up on the show because they're all going to be ready for it. But the teams that they have there that are known, everyone knows. So Manchester City, Manchester United. That's essentially like the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers. That's how close they are. They're right next door to each other. Maybe I don't know. It was 15 to 20 minutes apart. They have Chelsea, which is not far away. Legit, all of this is probably within 4 hours. You can drive to any of these teams if you want to, but they have Tottenham, you have Arsenal, you have Southampton, and you have Fulham that are all in London. All of these teams are probably within a 45-minute drive of each other. And mind you, all these teams in the Premier League are in England, not in Ireland, not in Wales, not in Scotland.
It sounds like the SEC.
Exactly.
Okay.
Except just being imagine the SEC, but being in Virginia.
Okay.
And like you're just driving from
Yeah,
Arlington to Virginia Beach or Virginia Beach to like Roanoke. Everything's just in one state. I can't even say Texas because Texas is bigger than England and Scotland and Wales. So it's legit. It's so small, but you can then understand how all these players are not from England or from those countries. They get them from around the world because Erling Haaland is not British. He's from like another country to the east. So other European countries. But that's the main thing I wanted to kind of bring up over there. Other thing I wanted to get into, and I wrote down this stuff because I'm sure you'll appreciate it. Number one, so you know how in America, when we go out to either dinner or lunch and stuff, and we get the napkin, we put the napkin on our lap, right? These people, they put the napkin right where it starts, right there, right next to them. So that's the first thing I noticed.
You don't like put it on them at all?
Nope, it's not on them.
Okay.
It's just right there.
Okay.
And I saw this at like 4 to 5. Huh?
Do they use it?
If you're lucky, you might see them use it. If not,
Okay.
if you're not, you won't. Now, the weird part is they legit do drive on the opposite side of the road. Everything's opposite. It's so crazy to be in a car. I took a lot of Ubers. You are in our driver's side back seat, and you're looking at the driver right there, diagonal to you. You're driving this way on the road. They're coming this way.
I don't know about that.
Crazy. Imagine, so their right-hand turns are so wild. Our right-hand turns super easy. their right-hand turns. If you're here, you got to go all the way around. And they're doing that.
No.
So
And what kind of cars do they have over there? They have like Mercedes and BMWs and shit like
they
that, right?
do.
But
They
they have
do.
like, I feel like they have some cars that just look different than what we
They
have.
absolutely do.
I don't know how to.
Yes.
I don't know like what that would be compared to here, but like, do they have Ford?
Think of like our Honda Civics. Like, you know how they get the souped up Honda Civics?
Yeah.
Just imagine that in a
Do
British
they have like
one.
a Ford F-150 over there?
Hell no.
Yeah, that'd be like dropping like a Ford F or like a Dodge Ram in the middle of London, like a Dodge Ram king cab, 20-foot bed or something like that,
No.
It's like lifted truck. Can you imagine pulling like a lifted truck into the UK? Like nuts, dude. Dropping like an Escalade over there? Nuts.
Yo. So hell no. And their gas is expensive. Number one, I know
Mm,
they're gonna kill me with this, but they don't use gas, they use petrol. Essentially, it's just a different version of gas, and
sure.
it's expensive. Like it's 13.80, I think, per. I don't know what they do. I think it was liter or something for petrol. It's expensive. That's all I'm gonna say. They're small cars. Might cost you 50 pounds to end up filling up. If anyone ever goes to England after listening to this, do not bring a US dollar because they will look at it like it's crazy. Did I do that? No, but I did some other dumb American stuff out there.
Mhm.
So the word Nike, you know how we say Nike?
Yeah.
They don't,
The shoe?
yeah, Nike the shoe. They don't say Nike, they say Nike.
Mm.
So yeah, that was
That's
something
just not
else.
right. That's not
Correct.
the word. It's Nike.
So
It's not the
the
word.
crazy part is you start to think Nike was made in America. You think that they're the ones that say it
Yeah,
correct.
what are you doing? No, that's our product. Like, that's our product. It's Nike. We invented it. You did not. We know what it is.
No, exactly. So that was kind of another thing. They do have a cool show that I can only compare to like Full House or something for us here, but it's called Outnumbered. So it's like their British version of it. Have you heard of it?
No, but
Uh,
it sounds exactly like Full House.
yeah, it's the same thing. You have like a couple of kids that are one of the main attractions of the show. And then like they have the adults, but they let the kids do whatever. So that was something I learned. Another thing, I know I'm gonna mess this up and they might end up telling me it later, but there's a movie, I think they said it was called like Rock the Boat or something. Basically, they can only listen in Great Britain, the UK. You can only listen to an hour of pop music during like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So what they end up doing is these pirated DJs got on a boat and they lived on a boat and they end up like broadcasting pop music throughout all the hours. And they just had like a bunch of DJs on the boat that would take turns playing pop music. And it became the most popular thing because the government tried to shut it down. So they made a movie about it. Like they would bring women on the boat. They would end up bringing like
Mhm.
all different people on the boat because you couldn't get to them since they weren't on British soil. So you couldn't like
That's Nike
shut them
boat.
down at first.
Nice.
And so yeah, that's a movie that if anybody knows actually the name of it, I recommend you guys go watch it. It was helpful to kind of see that. The other thing is, I don't know if I have it or not. Nope, I don't have it. I'll find it. I was able to shout out to the homies out there.
I
I
know.
was able to get a five, they call it a note. So I was able to get a 5 note, the version of pound, basically, our $5 bill of the Queen of England, which it's rare because they don't make them anymore, and the new print. I mean the new king.
Hmm.
So I have one of both of those, which is something that I'll probably hold on to it for a minute. But yeah, so they have the king
Oh,
and the queen because they're trying to get rid of the queen and they're gonna just push all the king's ones out there. So
So
that's
overall scale 1 to 10, how was the trip?
the game was a 11.
Yeah,
The
okay.
game was like
That's
it's
fair.
another atmosphere. The rest of the trip, I would say maybe a 7.
How's the
It
food?
wasn't so the other thing I want to talk about is it's like no. The food was okay. It was
Okay.
okay. I like this one place called Turtle Bay. And everyone that was out there that does listen to the show, they'll bring it back because I went to Turtle Bay twice. And essentially, it's a Caribbean place, but it's made by a gentleman from Sri Lanka. Don't ask me how they end up doing this.
Okay. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was fire. I'm sure it's absolute fire.
It was good. Nobody in there looked like they were from the Caribbean.
Of course.
I promise you that. But they found a way to do it. I was able to try a full breakfast, which is something that's big over there in England. I was able to try a Sunday roast, aka a carvery, which essentially is their version of Thanksgiving, except they do it every Sunday.
Oh,
So that was something else that was pretty solid to end up trying out, which I do appreciate being able to end up trying that. Then I was able to get. They have a sausage wrapped in like a crescent roll. Think of that. So that's kind of like wrapped fully in a crescent roll. It's another one of their.
I got you.
Yeah. So
sure
I had one of those.
I'm sure it was fire though. I'm sure it's absolute fire. Probably.
Yeah. I had like a chicken bake. I tried their candies. Their candies are different than ours because all the preservatives and stuff we have in our food, they don't have in theirs.
Does it taste better?
It tastes healthier.
I don't want that.
It's weird taste for us.
I don't want
but
that.
for them, yeah, I know. No. So ketchup. The ketchup
was
wild.
So you won't find any fucking nerds clusters over there, will you?
Probably not.
Again, you drop a Ford F-150 full of nerds clusters, and these people are not going to know what to do.
Nope.
It'd be like aliens came out of nowhere. That's crazy.
Oh hell yeah! But wild part is, so like some of the people over there, they actually bring them stuff to England that they can't get there.
Sure.
Do you want to know what one of them actually to bring them? Cheetos.
Oh, okay.
Cheetos. And at first I was like, why the heck, of all the things you get from America, you wanted Cheetos? But the reason why they wanted Cheetos is because I saw their bags of Cheetos very different than ours, like extremely different. They didn't even have it. None of it looked like our regular stuff. They had something called like Walkers. Essentially, it's our version of Lay's.
No,
so that was kind of.
It's not.
Yeah, I know.
It's dog shit.
So that was that. Will I probably go again? 1000%. I might go see 2 other football teams out there. And the last part, and I'll send it over to you. So I was coming back through customs, and I was wearing like a Man City jacket, and the guy at customs was like, "Where'd you go?" And I was like, "London." No, I said Manchester. They're like, "What'd you go there for?" I said to see a football match, and they said, "Oh, who'd you go see?" Mind you, I'm like, none of these questions have to do with me.
Fucking jacket, bro.
Yeah. And then I was like, Man City against Chelsea. And then he was like, what team did you go see? I was like, Man City. He's like, I'm just joking with you. I saw your jacket. I just wanted to ask you questions. I'm like, do you see how many people are in this line? I don't think they give a damn about the questions you are asking me. We are trying to go through. Then he was like, how'd you get your ticket? And at that point, I had to tell my boss today, I said, I really thought he was trying to quiz me to see if I'm going to make up a lie. And I was like, oh, for StubHub what?
That would happen to you too.
Yeah. I was like, StubHub International. And he was like, oh, for how much? Dog.
No, I got to
You didn't ask me.
Guy.
I got
a flight. Let's go.
And I said like 180. Oh, that's not bad. Like one of my friends said they got theirs for like 800 because all the season tickets sold have it. I was like, I don't know. I mean, they were behind the 5th place seed. He was like, well, now they're not.
Oh my god.
So it was like boom, boom, boom. But that's everything today. I'll have more next week. But what you got?
I don't even know. I'll give a shout out to Penn State, man. Your boys are going to be top. Your boys are going to be preseason number 1, number 2 in August. Winter workout started yesterday. We hired Jim Knowles, who is the Ohio State defensive coordinator. Nice, yeah, dude. Oh, program changing hire. James Franklin has had. We have the best coaching staff in the country, offensively, defensively. And we probably have one of the best, if not the best, rosters. And I feel like Ohio State fans felt last year when they're like, okay, like we got, like they went all in, brought back all these guys, all these seniors, yada, yada, yada. Guys like Jack Sawyer, fuck him, fuck Ryan Day. But they all brought those guys back for a reason, which to win a national title. And it's like, that's it. Not making the playoffs, not winning the Big Ten or first 4 teams, whatever. It's solely to win it. However you got to win it, that's how you're going to do it. So that's what they did. That's what Penn State's all in. It's great. There's a kid down this way. I think he's at St. Francis Academy. His name's Zion Ely. He's committed to Maryland right now. He might be transferring to Penn. Not transferring, but decommit and commit to Penn State, 5-star D end.
Yep.
So like NIL's coming around for Penn State. Fucking shout out to Pat Kraft, our athletic director. He's a fucking
Shout out.
beast. Football dude. Shout out to James Franklin, man. Love James Franklin. Everyone knows I'm a big James Franklin guy. Season just ended 2 weeks ago, but man, the vibes are already kicking up. So spring ball starts end of March. So the vibes will be back around again. I think just before or just after just before the NFL draft. So good timing on that.
He's from Baltimore too, and he committed to Maryland over these other teams.
Yeah, I think there's like the whole thing, and he wants to build something with Maryland. But it happened a couple of years ago when Chop Robinson committed to Maryland, a 5-star, but he's still a top prospect. Committed to Maryland, a year there, and transferred to Penn State. And he's a number 11 pick in the draft. So or top 20 pick. So yeah, that could be something. But your boys are making waves, dude, and yeah, I'm pumped. So shout out to Jim Knowles, shout out to James Franklin, shout out to Pat Kraft, shout out to all the homies, shout out to Jay Hill. I think we should I'm gonna talk to him, make some moves up there during spring practice, get to see a practice. I think that'd be pretty dope. So make moves, but season just ended again 2 weeks ago, but vibes are already high. So
hey, that's how it goes. So
also, I just want to be healthy. That's it. I just want to stop.
So we're gonna wish those positive vibes on Stephen and his family, because as long as his computer screen don't start sending like the germs this way, we're good. But we need to make sure homie's healthy during the off season, so that during the regular season he'll be good to go. So we'll catch you next week for the Super Bowl talk. We out.